Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this breakout session, BIZ205. My name is Steve Johnson. I'm a director of Agent Application Experiences for Amazon Connect. I'll be joined later today in this presentation by Drew Clark from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to share his experiences leveraging Amazon Connect. Throughout this session today, we're going to talk about how Amazon Connect can improve your agent experience, making them more productive, and in the end, improving your experience with your customers. We have similar presentations that you may be interested in that have happened here at reInvent over the last couple days, as well as throughout today and tomorrow as well. I'll share a slide at the end where you can get that material. If you're interested in other decks like this and materials around customer engagement, insights, optimization, analytics, workforce management, et cetera, post this event, I can certainly point you in the right direction and get you the right contacts to give you that material. So with that, we will get started. So this may be a repeat for some folks, so please bear with me for a moment. I'd like to give an overview of the key benefits of Amazon Connect. I know some folks in the room are probably customers and have heard this maybe before in some other presentations, but I do think it's important that I do spend a moment to walk through a couple slides to tell you about the benefits that Amazon Connect provides, and then we'll dive in deeper into the agent productivity side. Now, with Amazon Connect, you actually have a complete cloud-based service. This was built from the ground up. There was no existing technology before that we had to migrate to the cloud. It was built natively in the cloud from the beginning. With all the services in one place, it gives you the ability to make changes quickly. You can experiment and innovate the agent and customer experience, mostly without requiring any IT in a lot of cases. Now, leveraging AWS cloud services, you're able to use Amazon Connect can scale with your business, whether that's for business cycles like the holiday time like now that you may be going through with peak in your operations and contact centers, or whether that's for unplanned events. During the pandemic, customers relied on Amazon Connect to help move their workforce to be able to work remote. One of the things that we hear from customers that they like a lot about Amazon Connect is our pay for what you use model. Very similar for obviously what you would expect for using other cloud services. With a pay for use model, there's no required minimum monthly fees. There's no long-term commitments, upfront licensing charges. You're not paying for, peak capacity, number of agents that you have in seat. And this has been one of the most positive things that we've heard from customers about kind of our approach to contact centers. Some of the other benefits of Amazon Connect, I will say, that we'd like to highlight on this slide as well is the ability to improve productivity through AI and ML. And I would highlight that one of the key benefits is that we actually have nearly 30 years of experience in building and scaling our own contact centers around the globe. In addition, we have a lot of experience in building and managing our AI and ML. And so one of the things we announced at reInvent yesterday as part of Adam's keynotes, and there was a presentation earlier today, was how we're leveraging some of the things we do in our own contact centers, such as step-by-step guides. So I'll share a little bit about that later today, but that's one of the learnings and the studies that they have done that we've been able to incorporate into our product as well and offer that. One of the things people may not know is that a lot of our speech recognition and natural language understanding that we use in our whether it's chatbots or IVRs or even our voice authentication service, we leverage technology and AI that has been derived as part of Alexa and is used in Alexa today. So that's where some of those experience that we have, again, is an additional benefit with us. If you haven't tried setting up Amazon Connect, I encourage you to do so. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how fast it is to actually set it up. Within minutes, it is truly a few clicks, and within minutes you can begin taking contacts. You can begin adding and expanding the number of agents that can take contacts on a global telephony network that's fully supported. It's remarkable to do. The combination of all of these benefits that Connect that I just kind of highlighted for you, has led to a lot of adoption that we have. And I think what it's led to is that Amazon Connect is still one of the fastest growing services in AWS history. It's remarkable to kind of let that sink in for a little bit. Today, we have tens of thousands of customers of all sizes, handling over 10 million customer interactions per day. It's amazing, the scale at which it operates. Large companies that are on this list that maybe have larger number of agents and contact services providers, such as National Australian Bank, who I know is at re:Invent this year, also doing some presentations in partnership with Connect, Adidas, Delta Airlines. The feedback they give us is that they love that they can experiment and move so quickly. They feel like they have the agility of a startup to make changes when it comes to their operations and their contact centers. Companies on this list, such as maybe a little smaller in terms of the size of their customer service teams, such as ChartSpan, I think Answer Connect, or Slice Pizza on here. They tell us that they actually love getting an enterprise-grade contact center solution at startup prices. Back for that, pay for what you use, we scale as your business scales. The other thing you'll probably note on here as well is we do have several call-outs about the state and local governments that we do work with. You'll hear from Drew later from Kentucky and the partnership that we've worked with them on. But there's other call-outs up here, I believe Maryland, Rhode Island, the County of Los Angeles. And one of the things I wanted to call out with regards to this, about maybe 8 weeks ago, Amazon Connect received a FedRAMP High certification, which we believe we're the first CCaaS provider to do so. So that's a great win for us. Part of our strategy of growing our customers is working directly with them in order to innovate and launch solutions that address real-world challenges that we are all facing. The success of our customers is what drives us to innovate. And so with that, I'd like to jump back in now to the core topic at hand of how do we improve agent productivity. And first, maybe let's start by, I'm going to play a quick audio file of what may typically be a customer to agent interaction.
Hi, thank you for contacting us. Can I get your frequent flyer number?
Hi, this is Jane Doe. My frequent flyer number is THC378.
Did you say your frequent flyer number is CHC378?
No, it is THC378.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to ask you a few authentication questions to confirm your identity. What was the first street you grew up on?
Peach Boulevard?
I'm sorry, Peach Boulevard does not match our records.
My apologies, I meant Wilson Boulevard.
That's right, that matches our records. Well, great. How can I help you today, Jane?
My baggage arrived late and I need help submitting a reimbursement claim for the clothes I had to purchase.
I'm sorry that happened. Unfortunately, I can't help you with the reimbursement claim. That's a different department. Please hold while I transfer you to our claims department.
Now, by a show of hands, how many of you have either experienced that personally or have seen that type of interaction in your own contact centers? By these show of hands, it's clear to me this is not an edge case. This is often a most likely case of the type of experiences that our customers have when contacting our contact centers. These kind of interactions are what we typically refer to as high effort interactions. In this example, hopefully none of you had your luggage lost while you were here and have to file this claim, but in this example, the customer may have preferred a self-service solution. It's highly likely the customer was navigating help pages on a website, or help asking FAQs and helps within an application. Before they they felt the need, they had to reach out to somebody and contact an agent for assistance. At the same time, when they finally get a hold of an agent, it's clear the agent does not have context for who the caller is. So you go through the authentication steps, repeat a couple times, and then at the same time, the agent does not have context for why they're calling. What is their issue? How can I help them? And by the time they realize that they're not the ones who can actually help them resolve their issue, and they have to transfer the call. I think we can all agree that this is not a great customer experience. At the same time, we can also agree that the agent experience is also inefficient. The experience that we just saw or heard can lead to frustration for not only the customer, but it is also frustrating for the agent themselves. Now, many of you raised your hands about the feeling, that you've experienced this either yourself or you've witnessed this within your own operations. And oftentimes it's, how does that make you feel? And I mentioned the word frustration, but it does lead ultimately, these high effort interactions does impact customer loyalty. When poor customer service interactions happen, it increases that friction, it increases the likelihood that they may take their business elsewhere. At the same time, have any of you sat down next to your agents and watched how they do their work and the job they have in front of them? By show of hands, if people sat next to them and watched, or even watched on video, it is absolutely remarkable to spend time with your agents and see the work that they have to do. The cognitive load that we ask these employees to endure as they go through how many screens and applications, and they have a browser window open with multiple tabs. Multiple is generous. It's probably double digits you can see in there, right? Having to toggle back and forth between applications, SOPs, find those SOPs or find those knowledge articles so we can begin to understand how to handle the customer's issue in front of them. And in the end, we know that all the data shows that when agents are unable to resolve a contact on the first attempt, when customers have to repeat their information, wait for a transfer, potentially repeat their information again to now the new department they've been transferred to, when customers receive maybe generic IVRs or chatbot responses that don't really seem personal or applicable to them, these all lead to these high effort contacts, which has a negative impact on your CSAT scores. In addition, there's kind of a flywheel effect. While on the one hand, you have a negative impact on your CSAT scores, it impacts customer loyalty, which obviously impacts your business. At the same time, negative CSAT scores fly back around and also have a negative impact on your agent experience, right? A lot of times, performance is measured that way, how you measure agent performance, how fast did they resolve, were they able to resolve it on first contact, if not, why not? So you end up in this perpetual cycle that can lead to higher AHT, which means higher cost per contact, a poor agent experience, agents become unhappy, and it leads to higher agent turnover. So how can Amazon Connect help through its agent experiences that we offer? We kind of take a three-strategy approach here. First, we offer the capabilities to be able to automate non-differentiated work. We give you the opportunity to build and tune our systems, our automated systems, such as IVR, chatbots, to resolve simple, common, low-value tasks. We also use these automations to help the agents with data lookups, data entry, summarization. In the example we went through, you could see where potentially a really good IVR solution would have said, are you calling about a reimbursement claim for lost, et cetera? And we could have actually sent the customer to a self-service solution. Should they have not wanted a self-service solution, then you can connect them with an agent. But in this case, we could have automated some of those processes. The other thing that we offer, number 2 on our list here, is offer agents real-time context. How do we aggregate data across all those many different applications and services in order to provide them with context, allowing them to easily navigate between the different data they may need in order to help the agent context and ultimately be more productive? And third, how do we guide agents to resolution? With our guided agent workflows that we recently just announced, the step-by-step flows is one avenue into this. We also have existing assistance that we do for auto-detecting what the knowledge-based article we think the agent should use most. And in fact, we actually do it in real time if you're taking a voice call. We can actually detect what's happening, what's the customer saying, and how fast do we update. Here's what we think you may do. So together across these 3 strategies is our approach in Amazon Connect to increase the containment rate, first contact resolution, reduce your adverse handling time, and reduce the frequency in which your customers have these high effort interactions with your agents. I believe it was this time last year, I think we announced kind of our Amazon Connect's agent workspace. And it brings together all of Connect's capabilities into a single pane of glass, accessible virtually anywhere via a single sign-on into a web application. One of the great things about the capabilities in the way Amazon Connect has built its products in a composable way is our capabilities are logically distinct. So our services can be purchased one at a time, or you can purchase them all together. Again, pay for only what you use. Each of these capabilities that are listed here are programmed to access and display and refresh your data during live contacts. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see our contact control panel where agents see incoming contacts, whether the contact has already been authenticated by our voice biometric service. The first tab that opens is Customer Profiles tab, where we've aggregated data about the customer in terms of their contact history, name, phone number, additional info, should the agent need that information to resolve the issue. The next tab is cases, case management. We can begin to look at what were the previous cases. Maybe this customer profile had come in and talked about. Maybe they're related. Maybe it's additional information that they need in order to help resolve this issue. On the top right is what I mentioned earlier, auto recommendation service that we have that based on the conversation, based on what we're seeing, we can actually, through our ML technology, recommend knowledge articles that we think are the most likely to be helpful for the agent, as opposed to the agent having to type in and search for what they're looking for. Now, all of these agent experiences are configurable and managed through Amazon Connect flows. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Connect flows, but the Connect flows defines how a customer experiences your contact center from start to finish. The most basic level, you can customize your IVR system, determine what agent queues your customer enters into, using what we refer to as these blocks. All of your agent experience capabilities have their own dedicated blocks that you can add to the contact flow. You can decide when to trigger what experiences that the agent will have. It's easy to drag and drop. easy to configure, and this is where you would actually set up both self-service options for the contact flow as well as the agent experience should the customer contact the agent. We also recognize that while the agent desktop provides a great set of out-of-the-box capabilities, we recognize that our customers want to be able to leverage these components of Amazon Connect's agent experience. They want to leverage these capabilities in their own preferred environment. So I've already talked about the agent workspace. Many customers have told us, hey, I have a partner agent application that I like to use. The agent application maybe was developed by a CRM provider like Salesforce or Zendesk, or maybe a SaaS offering like Local Measures Engage. These partners also have out-of-the-box offerings with Amazon Connect's agent experience already built in. Last on this list here, some customers have told us, I just want to build my own custom agent experience wholeheartedly. Some of them do it in-house, or some of them want to work with a solution integrator. But they use our public APIs to build out our agent experience capabilities directly into their application. Now let's take a look at that previous customer interaction we had, based on the fact that if we leveraged Amazon Connect's agent experiences from biometric voice authentication, IVR set up appropriately, if you reach you reach an agent, they have awareness and context about what you might be calling about.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for being a loyal customer. Are you calling about your reimbursement claim for your delayed luggage?
Yes, I chatted a few days ago with your system, and I'm having difficulty filling out the reimbursement form.
I can help you with that. We need a list of expenses and receipts attached to the process claim. I will share you with a link with the instructions as a follow-up.
Great, I'll submit it today.
All right then, have a nice day.
You too.
You can see how we've streamlined the process, made a much more improved customer experience, a much more improved agent experience, reduced the AHT, resolved the contact on first contact resolution, resolved it, by leveraging the experiences that we offer within Amazon Connect. I will show one slide here next, which is regarding the next part that we announced yesterday, which is the step-by-step guides. There is a dedicated session that was actually earlier today on this, and those folks are here today as well, and we'll have some Q&A afterwards as well if you want to go deeper into this, or you can also watch their session as well. But this is another example I mentioned earlier where we took the learnings from Amazon's customer service, where they have a lot of repeatable types of contacts, right, that your agents do over and over and over and over again, to the point that they often memorize the SOP, if you will, or they memorize the steps. By putting those steps in this guided flow and recommending these, which you use the flow blocks that I mentioned earlier, there's now a step-by-step flow blocks, your own managers can actually create these step-by-step guides. So that when the customer comes in, and in this case wanted a reimbursement for buying clothes for their lost luggage, we could have auto-popped this step-by-step guide for the agent to immediately begin working down, asking those questions. Same things of whether it's modifying a reservation or trying to find out a status of an application, or depending on what the use case is. By providing these step-by-step guides, we drive more consistency in the training of our agents, more consistency in our agent experience, more consistency in your customer experience. The next time every individual who calls for the exact same contact traditionally follows a very similar flow. At the same time, we also recognize that we don't live in a perfect world of why people contact. They may contact us for multiple reasons, and we always make sure that our expert agents have an escape hatch of where they can exit the flow and do what needs to be done in order to resolve the customer issue. We're super excited by this. We announced it's in preview. We're starting to work with customers on this, and stay tuned for more. With that being said, many customers use our agent capabilities today. Here are a few. Up next, I mentioned we're going to have, now it's time to hear from a customer. So I'm going to welcome Drew Clark to come up and talk about his experience of adopting and integrating Amazon Connect and what that has transpired into in terms of benefits for his business. Welcome, Drew.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve, for the introduction. It's great to be here with you all today. I'm glad that we've got a good crowd coming out to join us. So I'm a business analyst for the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. I've been with them for about 5-6 years, and I've worked in the Office of Information Technology for about 2 of that, and there I've had the advantage of working on a lot of really awesome projects, one of those being the implementation of the Connect product. So our mission at the Transportation Cabinet is to provide a safe, efficient, environmentally sound, and physically responsible transportation system that delivers economic opportunity and enhances the quality of life in Kentucky for our citizens. The focus of today is actually going to be the Division of Customer Service, which exists within the Department of Vehicle Regulations, or DVR as we call it. DVR supports the nearly 5 million citizens who live in Kentucky, and they help them with anything from renewing vehicle registration to issuing a driver's license, maybe obtaining commercial credentials, and a lot of other things. So why is customer service important to us? Even though we're a government organization, customer service is still critical to our operations. First and foremost, as the public servants, we have a responsibility to help the citizens of the Commonwealth. They rely on us to provide services that no one else in the public or private sector can. Our goal is to help them with the services they need and provide the highest level of customer service that we can while doing it. We all know how painful it is to talk to any DMV office or go visit your DMV, or if you have to call a state office. So we want to make sure that that customer service experience in Kentucky can be just a little better. Secondly, citizens of the Commonwealth who contact DVR are not looking for optional goods or services. They need assistance with a license or credential that is going to keep them in compliance with state and federal laws. So let's discuss some of the ways the previous system prevented us from providing the customer service that our citizens deserve. The previous contact center solution used by DVR had several issues that made it necessary for us to replace. Reliability, or lack thereof, was a major problem for us. It was normal for us to restart our voice server once a week, and at the worst time, we were actually restarting it almost daily. That actually stemmed from our incompatibility issues with a voice client to run on virtual servers, which we were not made aware of until after the fact. And even simple things like user account changes and things like that had a really good chance to actually crash a lot of the services on our system, which, as you all know, causes a lot of problems. The complexity of design also caused a lot of issues for us. The previous solution required a ticketing system and a voice client to be hosted on 2 separate environments. We had a voice client that was no longer being developed for. We had a ticketing system that was only receiving bug fixes at the time, and there was no room for growth and innovation for us. So implementing new features such as chat or Q&A bot was just not an option. And this brings us to the agent experience. The legacy system was built with a focus on the ticket instead of the customer. For example, a ticket was created for every call and email that came into the system, regardless of whether it was actually needed. This forced the agent to fill out required information and close tickets even when they weren't needed to assist the customer. That, coupled with the unintuitive design of the voice and ticketing system, made processes like managing and transferring calls very difficult for them. These issues pushed us to pursue a new call center solution for the department. And during that search, we noticed that a lot of the solutions had a lot of the same functionality, and they had a lot of common themes across the board. The first and most glaring of those was that a lot of them were out-of-the-box solutions that had almost no room for customization. The other is they had a large upfront cost. And if anyone in here is from the public sector, you understand that getting sign-off and approval on doing anything with a large upfront cost is very, very difficult. So needless to say, a lot of this was a non-starter for us. So while reviewing the contact solutions, we had an opportunity to see Amazon Connect and see what it had to offer our call center specifically. And once we saw all the features and the ability for us to configure and customize to our heart's content, we knew that it was going to be a good choice and a good fit for the cabinet. With Amazon Connect, we saw a solution that provided us with that customization, the configurability, and the flexibility that our call center truly needed. We were able to update services and features as we needed them, and that provided us with nearly limitless growth potential. Connect was also able to deliver a powerful Q&A bot that provided our customers with options to get the help they needed, sometimes without the need of even speaking to an agent. The configurability of the Q&A bot also allowed us to expand self-service options that we identify in the future, something that we have not really had in the past. In a recent survey with Kentucky citizens, more than 50% wanted to receive help without actually speaking to someone. No voice services. We expect to meet and or exceed that expectation in the very near future with more self-help options that we're building in. Connect's spirit of innovation and achievable roadmap was also a major boon for the cabinet. Having a call center solution that continues to innovate for years to come is a huge asset to the citizens of the Commonwealth and the agents who work with them from day to day. Kentucky continues to also work with the product teams at Amazon to understand the future roadmap and to work with them on the features and how we can provide them feedback to improve those for not just us, but for everyone in the room. So we made the decision to go to Amazon Connect. What's next? At the beginning of the project, we had the idea and the concept we wanted to achieve. And lucky for us, the system admin at the time, which is actually in the room with us, I won't point him out directly, he made the decision to forget what the old system did and focus on what Amazon Connect could actually do for us. And if anyone's worked on projects, you know how refreshing that is to hear, because a lot of people get hung up on what we have instead of what we can have. The Amazon CAT team helped us to realize the potential of Connect through a proof of concept build that we worked closely with them on. We worked with them for several weeks to see what Connect had to offer the call center at the time. And the time spent with the CAT team, it really did seem like it went by quickly, but in reality, there were a number of hours spent with them on learning all the ins and outs of what Connect had to offer. During that time, we realized that we were only really missing one thing from Connect, and that's a way to manage the issues or the tickets that the customers had. Lucky for us, they introduced us to cases, which once we had the ability to see what cases could offer us and how it integrated in with the application, we knew that the Amazon Connect platform was what we needed to go to. So once the proof of concept was successful, we started looking toward the requirements of the solution we wanted to actually deploy. For this, we booked one of our large conference rooms and turned it into a war room for about 3 months. And in the first couple weeks, we had diagrams and information all over the whiteboard. We had paper all over the walls. We were about one ball of red yarn from people thinking we had solved one of the world's greatest mysteries. And the good thing is, all this hard work that we did actually paid off dividends. The upfront analysis completed by the KYTC team helped us to decrease overall project time actually by a couple weeks. And with our accelerated timeline to launch, a complete call center solution, a couple of weeks actually made all the difference. It's worth noting the timeline for our production deployment was actually a total of 9 weeks. And that included providing the ProServe team with all of our requirements, included testing, UAT, and finally deployment. Now, normally you won't have a compressed schedule like that, but unfortunately due to the contract with a legacy vendor, we had no choice but to shoot for the moon. Luckily for us, the Amazon ProServe team was up to the challenge, and we were able to hit our target. There were times when the schedule seemed like it just wasn't possible due to the amount of work ahead of us, but the ProServe team and KYTC team kept our focus and commitment to completing the project on time. When the launch came, we successfully deployed the Amazon Connect solution with a minimal impact to the department. Sorry, I gotta get a drink. Now, I believe the success of this deployment can be attributed to a few things. The first is how quickly the KYTC and CAT teams were able to build a working proof of concept. The proof of concept helped stakeholders to really understand the features that were available, what was possible with Amazon Connect, how everything integrated and worked together. The second was the synergy of the teams. And I know that's a buzzword for everyone in here, sorry. But the entire KYTC team felt that the CAT and ProServe teams were part of a long-term goal, and we worked together really great from the beginning. They also shared the same sense of humor, which is a great thing for us. For them, it may have been unfortunate. So what does our contact center look like today with Amazon Connect? So today when a citizen calls in, they can choose a self-service option by doing certain utterances or keywords at the beginning of the IVR, or they can choose to speak to an agent. Some of those self-help options can be things like text messages, or we can provide them information over the phone, and we're continuing to build that out and explore new options. If they choose to speak to an agent, then they don't have to wait on hold for extended periods of time anymore. They are now going to receive a callback at the number that they choose. When the automated callback goes out to the citizen, the agent will use customer profiles, cases, and wisdom inside the unified agent app to help the citizen with their needs. When a call is transferred, a subject matter expert or tier 2 agent will also utilize customer profiles and cases to further assist the customer. So the changes to our contact center solution have led to some really awesome successes since July. For instance, migration from the legacy system to the Amazon Connect platform has allowed the call center to manage the same or greater call volume with a reoccurring spend being less than our legacy system. And this is with the addition of new features that we did not have before. We consider our chatbot implementation a huge success for the citizens and agents. We consistently see a little over 90% of our Q&A bot traffic routing through the self-help options on the website. The website contains a wealth of information to our citizens, but without an easy way to search that information, it can be a really daunting task for them to find the things they need. The chatbot helps them get that information quickly without the need to interact with a live person. And in a huge win for the call center and trainers, we've seen the training time and onboarding for new agents reduced to 2 weeks in Amazon Connect. Now, this is a dramatic reduction from our previous 4+ weeks that we had before, and the reduced training time can be directly attributed to the Amazon Connect platform. The intuitive design and ease of use has also allowed improvements in other areas as well, such as our average call and queue times. With Amazon Connect, we're seeing call handle times decrease from more than 5 minutes down to about 3.3 minutes. And our average queue times have been cut in half with that. When you think about the call center cutting down queue times but increasing the call volume, you really start to understand the positive impact this has had to our call center. Lastly, since launching the Amazon Connect platform, we've seen a dramatic decrease in agent turnover. When we talk to the agents in the call center now, they talk about how much easier Amazon Connect has actually made their jobs. There's a lot of process that they no longer have to go through. Everything's more intuitive. It's just easier to use overall. So let's talk about our call center innovations for a moment. The Amazon Connect platform allowed innovations in 3 key areas for us. Our agent-focused innovation centers around the intuitive design of the Connect client, while Connect is a simpler interface for the agents to use. It provides them with more relevant information on the matter they're working with at the time. For the business area, we wanted to provide them with additional features so they can more effectively see how their areas are performing. And in the past, they were unable to see how good or bad customer interactions were because we had no way to actually see that data or quantify it. With the use of contact lens and sentiment scores, our business areas have more visibility into customer service metrics and coaching opportunities. And of course, let's not forget our biggest people, our citizens. The Q&A bot was a real game changer for them. It has allowed them to use a lot of the self-help options that we've added in to the voice portion so that citizens can actually get the information they need without talking to someone. They now have a guided assistant that can help them find information easier by asking questions and clicking menu items in the Q&A bot chat as well. If they decide they still need to speak to an agent, they have that option as well. And then the data that we gather off of the missed utterances is then turned around and used for us to build out additional self-help options to continue improving that experience into the future. And of course, now the good part, the reason you're all here, the numbers. So since going live with Amazon Connect, we've seen our average monthly call volumes hit around 43,700 calls for Tier 1. The Tier 2 agents are averaging around 3,600 calls each month. And it's important to note that not all of our Tier 2 calls are routed through our Tier 1. Some of them are agency to agency, so they go direct. And while I know this isn't huge volume to some of the other areas, and I'm sure a lot of you have a lot bigger statistics, this is big for us. This call volume has been substantial, and this system is able to actually handle a lot more call volume than our existing. So it's a major win for us. So at this point in time, we are seeing an average of 10,000 cases created each month in Amazon Connect. And I do want to mention that we do not create a case for every call that comes in. Simple things like asking what the hours are for a particular area or a particular office, we don't create cases for that. More complex issues, or if a customer needs to be transferred to another area, we will create cases for those each time. We do this to cut down on unnecessary work and to speed up the customer experience. So since going live in July, our agents have created around 208,000 customer profiles in Amazon Connect. That's an average of around 1,800 profiles created each day. We do expect that number to plateau once we start getting close to the 5 million Kentucky citizens, but we do expect to be able to exceed that because we do take phone calls from other US states, Canadian jurisdictions, and Mexico. And the stat that really surprised us is our Q&A bot hits. As you can see here, we're seeing over 44,500 Q&A bot hits per month. That is higher than our calls taken due to some of our citizens using self-help options. Then we have our 294,000 Q&A bot hits on chat. We were hoping the chat feature would take off and be widely adopted by our citizens, but we honestly never expected it to happen this well. Since implementing the chat feature on the website, it has consistently been where we see customers go to get help. And with that, I appreciate everybody staying tuned for this part of the session, and I'll welcome Steve back up, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Nice job. All right, thank you, Drew, for sharing your experience with implementing Amazon Connect and the impact it's had on your business. It's fantastic to hear. One of the questions we often get is, what are the next steps? How can we begin to engage into leveraging Amazon Connect? And I think Drew even outlined in his presentation a bit about how they went about it. I think phase one, he called it ideation, understanding what it is they wanted from the project. What are the outcomes you want your business to do? Where do you want to focus on? We often do realize that most customers are not in a situation to rip and replace their entire existing contact center solutions. So you have to sit down and think about it with your own leadership about where is it that we can start? Where is it we could begin to focus, begin to experiment, begin to create a POC, and analyze and begin to build the beginnings of our workloads in that type of environment? So the steps we have here, again, I think step one is really identifying and aligning with leadership around the outcomes that you want for your business. Step two is diving in deeper with Amazon Connect and the capabilities that it has. You can leverage, I think it's on step three, is leveraging the resources that Drew also called out and gave a big nod to with our solution architects and ProServe and all of our AWS partner teams that are able to really help you understand the capabilities that we have for Connect and how we can implement that in your specific environment. And as always, just pilot something small. I told you it's very easy to get started. You can run small pilots. We have customers who maybe begin something like with their help desk internal to their own company team. Things like that to really begin to get started and begin to experiment and see the capabilities to their full extent and then expand over time. If you want to learn more, I told you at the beginning I'd share some of the additional sessions, breakout sessions, workshops. There's a chalk talk even tomorrow to attend while you're here at reInvent. There were some presentations I know before this meeting here and some yesterday as well. Those videos will be online usually within 24 hours, about 24 hours after those have concluded. I do want to make sure that I say thank you all for coming and participating.